Hi there. Good morning. I'm Susanna. I'm a clairintuitive, which for me means I get psychic messages clairvoyantly, which means I see them claircognitively, which means the words kind of come through, and clairsentiently, where I feel things. And each week I do a reading for the United States, the collective, to see what the energy is going to bring. And so last week we got pretty much, I think the theme was live in the now, because we can't truly experience something in the future or in the past, and that the time is now. And I hope that message blessed you and that you got reminders through the week to take that message on board and work with it. I know I did. And also another one that I particularly was recalling this week was a message of the geese and the power of many, as opposed to trying to be the one out in front leading all the time. And that was something I definitely was thinking about and experiencing through the week. So I hope that you had a blessed week, and I'm excited to look at the week ahead. And we'll see what happens. And my guides have been talking to me. I always put the cards from last week in here, about not needing to define the energy reading so specifically. Like I've been saying, okay, this is just for next week. And what's been happening is the same cards will come up. And when I talked to them about that, they told me that the energy is like a river, and you can't really cut off a section of the river, that it's all connected. And so I think rather than defining the weeks, I'm just going to say, this next week ahead is the 19th to the 25th, leading us up to Memorial Day. And so we'll just say this is the energy for the latter part of May. And the purpose in not being so specific about dates will enable them to give us more broad information, I think is what they were telling me this morning. And I actually woke up with a word this morning. It was reset. So I know what that means as a human, but we'll see what they have to say about it in terms of what it means for our reading. So the first card we're going to pull is spiritually. God Source, give us a card for how we're going to be doing this next week into May spiritually. Gentleness. Respond softly. Spiritually. Wow. Okay, so this is a picture of a mother comforting a baby, and the baby is crying. And I'm just feeling the feelings of the mother with the baby that cries, and it can be very, you can have a very primal reaction to your baby crying. And if you're nursing, they're reminding me, it can actually make your milk supply start to come down, as I say. And so they're connecting this spiritually with emotions, not emotions, because it's spiritual, energies that we feel that affect us, that we may not even be aware of, that urge to pick up a crying child, or a frustration that a child won't stop crying, colicky baby. I had, at least one of my sons was colicky. It was really tough. And that feeling of energetic dissonance, that feeling of being out of sync with the world around you. And so their instruction is gentleness, to respond softly. So I don't know if you all have been feeling really agitated. I have been. It's like it's almost, it feels like a time shift to me. Like we're in it feels momentous. And so to me, this speaks to recognizing when we're feeling those energies of anxiety or dissonance, and to be gentle with our systems, to give our systems time to process, to integrate, to there's a word. Okay, what word are you trying to tell me? To metabolize, to work with the energies in a way because they are for our greater good. So, okay. All right. Emotionally, how are we going to be doing God service this next week into the end of May? What would you have us know emotionally? Spiritual practice, structure, and routine. Oh my goodness. They've been talking to me about this. So when I get unmoored in my life, my spirit team will start saying things to me like, get back to basics, like get outside, go for a jog, clean the kitchen, take a shower, all the things that we kind of take for granted, that we do in our days, to be a little more structured and routine about it. And building that structure begins to build kind of a sense of security and confidence in my day-to-day life when I'm a little unmoored. And so they're wanting us to build structure and routine to handle the chaotic energies. I guess that's what this is, a chaotic energy. Okay. So mentally, what is going on this next week of May? Mentally. And this is a card that kind of is what we're thinking about. Freedom. Just be you. We got this one last week. This is speaking to this idea that energies aren't predictions, energies, forecasting is not just about the moment. It carries forward. And this one I think was in our physical spaces. So I showed that to you. Can you see it? Just be free. Just be you. Freedom. So what guidance would you give us around this card mentally? I think this next week we may be trying to do mental gymnastics is what I'm getting. Like if we have the chaotic energies and we're focusing on routine to kind of deal with that we may be trying to mentally figure out next steps. What do we do? How do we handle this? How do we get a better plan of attack? How do we get prepared, better plan attack? And they're saying, just be you. So just slow and steady. We've talked a lot about preparing for communications, grid collapses, those kinds of things. And this is a card of ease. Just relax. If you're going to get supplies, do it slowly, and don't overthink things. Don't overthink things. That's what I'm getting on that card. This is an interesting reading. All right, physically next week. Gosh, Judas, soul contracts. Can you see that? Is it focusing? Let me see if I can get it to focus. Here we go. Yeah, I hate getting this card. Catalyst and soul contracts. So this is in the physical space. So we have come to this earth to learn. We chose, before we came, to learn soul contract lessons. And we get lots of opportunities to respond in a way that reflects our highest self, that reflects our most healed selves. And so next week into the end of May, you may be encountering one of your soul contracts. And I talk about this a lot. In fact, if you're a part of Susan Lynn's online community, I'm going to be doing an information session with her in June about this exact subject, soul contracts. What are they? Why are they important? Why don't we recognize them? So let's see, that a good way, I mean, I can give you, and because I'm doing that class, I've thought about some that are not terribly triggering in my life. And one of them that is not exactly a soul contract, but it's the energy of the healing from it is similar. And so I'll just share that with you so you can connect with where you may be seeing this in your life. So soul contracts are usually about human interactions, human relationships. But when I was in college, I was flying in a little plane, and the over Bay City in Houston, which is a huge warehouse area, and the propellers died. The plane died. It was the most utterly silent sound I've ever heard before or since ever again. Just utter silence. And the people that were flying the plane were, freaking out. And I remember putting on my seatbelt, because we didn't, 20 years ago, we didn't do that these days, so that they would find my body. Like, I literally had that thought, oh, we're gonna die. But I was young, and so while I was terrified, you have this sense of invincibility about you when you're young. That's why they send our young people to war. The plane just started kind of doing this, and I don't know a lot about planes, but it felt like it was starting to kind of do this, and the propellers kicked back on, and we landed safely. So after that experience, and let's just call it a trauma wound, let's just say that was a traumatic event for me, which it was, okay? I couldn't get on planes for a long time. I'd have to take medication, and I realized in that process that I had never considered that a plane would fall out of the sky. And now I knew a plane can fall out of the sky. And I was not able to get on a plane without that bone deep, cell deep awareness of something really bad could happen. This plane doesn't have to stay in the sky. Whereas before, I had had this naivete about kind of, what safety there was. And planes obviously are very safe. But what happened to me when I was on that little plane, I carried with me. And it had an effect, even though that happened in a past moment that was gone. I carried in my body, in my mind, in my cells, the trauma of that experience, and it affected my life. And I eventually managed to reconcile that. I still don't love to fly, and I always seem to have bad experiences. I was flying home from Phoenix this year, and we had to make an emergency landing, in an airport like 2 hours away from where we were supposed to be. So I have these continually upsetting experiences flying, and it calls back that wound, and I have to work with my energy. I have to work with myself to stay present, to deal with it in the here and now. And you can probably tie that yourself with what a soul wound is, but just to connect the dots, a soul wound is usually some sort of a trauma that's happened that we don't even really know about, but we keep overreacting to something, or we keep acting in a way that is not in our best interest, our highest self. Or it can be I've talked about, I think, borderlines before. Maybe you wanted to master the manipulation of a borderline. When you were on the other side, you said, I want to learn how to deal with that kind of a manipulative person and to set boundaries. So the soul contract, the life lesson would be to set boundaries with that situation. So I hope that doesn't feel jumbled to you, but the example of flying, having a scary experience, and the effect it had on you is very similar to what a soul contract can feel like. And so this week, if you have someone from your past come back up that really challenges you to be your best self, or that you find yourself giving into or not having good boundaries, or it could be they're telling me overspending. Maybe you struggle with boundaries around money and overspending, or food, or that. So something in your life that is not helpful to you, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, it hits them all. Just give yourself permission to take a step back and pause and just think about it. Just if you can recognize it and say, oh my gosh, this happens all the time, and I always respond this way, and it never goes well, and maybe I should think about that and think about whether I want to respond differently, because I promise you'll get another chance. And this is a lot of what the work I do with my clients, is we get to the root of what's tripping them up. So, but I truly hate it when this card comes out. There's another one in here too, something like life lessons. Because soul contracts they just suck. They just do. We just don't have an awareness of them, and they really suck. So catalyst and soul contracts. They're also telling me this is going to be in our country. So this is going to have to do with our country. Maybe we'll pull some cards on that. So, and in a lot of ways, our country is experiencing a soul wound. I should have said I'm pro-democracy, so I'm not thrilled with the current administration and the overreaches of law, particularly the challenges to the Constitution. Okay, well, so for the week ahead, go easy on yourself. The energy is going to be chaotic. Respond gently. Let's see if I can get these going right. Have some structures and routines. Just first thing in the morning, I'm going to do 3 things. Boom, boom, boom. Just do them. Don't even think about them. Just get them done. Structure will help. Grocery shop. Do all the chores that you normally might do as it's convenient. Set up some structure so you can feel like you've accomplished things. And then mentally, don't try to overthink things. Just be in the moment. And then physically, somebody, a person, a physical entity, a thing, an actual physical thing, is going to be in our spaces that is uncomfortable, something that we need to learn and grow from. And it actually feels like it could be something in the country. So, all right, so that's the reading for our collective. And then I am really feeling kind of over the political stuff, like all the shenanigans, just kind of feels like a show I've already seen. Have you ever turned on a TV show and you get into it and you're like, oh, well, I think I've already seen this. Wait, I know what's going to happen next. Like that kind of energy of being over something. And so I was trying to think about what do I want to ask in the current event. And I thought I would check on the dollar, because the US dollar is allegedly precarious right now. And if the US dollar loses value, if you don't understand how all that works, I'm not a finance person, but if the US dollar, say the US dollar is worth $1 versus the euro, 1-to-1, I don't know what they are. But if the US dollar suddenly becomes worth 75 cents versus the euro, then that euro has more purchasing power, and the US dollar has just lost 25% of its value. And so this is hugely impactful, particularly for our debt situations, because it would take you, if your dollar is only worth 75 cents, it's going to take a lot longer for you to pay off a debt that was negotiated when it was worth $1. Does that make sense? And you want to buy something if it was, if it only cost $1 before, if it cost $1 before, suddenly you only have 75 cents. So your purchasing power, our purchasing power, is reduced, and it's hugely significant for the whole financial market. And when I had read on the shipping containers situation, that felt like it felt tied to the bond market and the dollar market and all those things. So, okay, so God source, August. Let's go through August. They're saying August. What is going to happen? Can you give us some insights about the US dollar and the valuation of the US dollar, and whether it will stay strong or inflation will go up? And maybe, no, I don't, not inflation. Will the value of the US dollar be diminished by the end of the summer? Okay, let's see what they have to say. Enlightenment, continue to grow. I think that's a no card. Can you see that? Oh, come on, focus. Let me check in. What does this mean? Enlightenment, continue to grow. I think it's gonna be fine. I think what this is saying is, what I'm getting is that all of these weaknesses in the system are going to be propped up and fixed, and that at least through August the dollar is going to be okay. So that's great. I was not expecting that. That's good news. Okay. And then I wanted to pull a card on the supply situation. I don't know about you all. I had to go to Walmart to get a battery pack, and I went ahead and did my shopping, and our shelves are full. I'm in the Missouri Ozarks, which is kind of directly in the center of the country. So I don't know. I don't know when this shipping thing is supposed to happen, but we've not seen it yet. So let's see. God source, in the next couple of weeks, will we experience shortages? Living from the heart, soften and open. Soften and open. God, Source, what are you trying to say? I think whatever problems that I think it's going to be fine. Huh. How interesting. Soften and open. These are really positive cards for the economy and the country, and I wasn't expecting this at all. So, if things are going to stabilize with the dollar, with the supply chains, then where are these challenges that we pulled for the humans going to be coming from? That's interesting. Huh. All right, let's just ask that question. And I may get more information when I'm channeling. They're telling me I'm going to get more information from the channel. But let's just pull one more card. Where is this fractious energy, this soul contract call, and the need for structures coming from? Where is this chaoticness coming from? I'm hearing in your own human systems. Temptation, moral compass. Temptation, moral compass. Our own self-destructive behaviors and patterns, and the people that we are directly surrounded by. I'm really being pulled to this road behind these chimpanzees. The road that we are on with our family units, our close community, is challenged by those individuals. Getting to our destination is going to be challenging. Okay, well, there we go. So, good news in terms of the economy, the dollar stability, challenges in our physical, relational lives. So, yeah. So, and we're coming up on Memorial Day, I know. So, families will be getting together, and maybe just have a little pause, talk with yourself before that gathering about old patterns that you don't have to repeat, that aren't in your best interest. So, all right, I'm going to do my channeling and see what other information wants to come through from my spirit team, from God's Source. And thank you so much for being here. And I'll be right back. A really interesting channel. They wanted to talk a lot about soul contracts, and gave me a little bit of a chastisement, and then they had some current event stuff to say. So let's see, let me read it to you. So I asked them, God Source, what information do you want me to deliver about the coming week, specifically in regard to the 4 cards we pulled for the collective: soul contract, mental quietude, structure, routine, and to respond softly. And they said, it is always true that you're being confronted with your life lessons, or what you have called your soul contracts, or even your soul wounds. And this is not new in the coming week, only that the card would encourage you to be on the lookout for it. For indeed, recognizing is the first step to evaluating whether your response is in your highest good. So, there is no judgment around soul contracts or life lessons or whatever you wish to call them, only that when your soul was beyond the veil, you chose a certain obstacle course, if you like, for your life. We're showing you a gymnasium with rings and bars, and they're like the monkey bars that you go along, to move from one side to the other, and a rope to climb. A life obstacle course, if you wish, a life obstacle course that you wish to try to master. We say this to try to take the emotion and fear out of this. For indeed, when you do an obstacle course, do you not get stronger in your muscles? Do you not get more gifted and talented and skilled at each of the obstacles as they come along? The challenge, you say, with the life lesson, the soul contract, is some tests you don't master easily. We wish for you to de-emphasize the scariness that you had, the language that you have used when talking about these lessons. So, there you go. Definitely responded as a human, and obviously not as a spirit guide, to the thought of being confronted with life lessons next week. True. For it is not necessary in any sense for you to master them. It is only that they have a level of difficulty beyond what you normally encounter. And in that instance, they may return for you to try again. The emphasis on the importance of them that you have spoken of could make it seem to some humans as if they need to get the blue ribbon to win. It is not that way. It is only your choice, and indeed you choose what you thought you might want to learn and what skills you might want to master before you became a human. This is not an obstacle course, so to say, put in place by the great divine. No, not at all. They're pretty strong on that. The feeling I got when they were saying this was that putting too much emphasis and scariness and dread, even, that they said to me, on something that is equivalent to breathing in their mind, it's just part of the human process, diminishes your energy and is not of service to you. And so they would rather us be more equanimity, I think is a word, is what they're giving me, about the importance, the purpose, the encounter of these challenges. And they're showing me a little stream that we have on our property that when I go for my walk, I have to jump over. And they're saying, you don't anticipate the stream, you don't dread the stream, you just jump over it. So they are not happy with the way I have portrayed soul. They're okay, it's not happy, it's not bad, it's not good, it's they would like to encourage anyone watching this to not be in concern or fear. So to the extent that I did that, I apologize. I'm sorry. Sorry to my guides and angels. It is not necessary in any sense for you to master them. It is only, I've already gone past that paragraph. Let's see. This is not an obstacle course put in place by the great divine. No, not at all. These challenges, these hard things that you encounter in your human skin, are things that you chose before you incarnated. We wish for you to de-emphasize any sense of scariness or alarm, and indeed, when you saw the card, you reacted with dread. We would like for you to not be in dread for these moments, for they are fleeting and passing, and there is no necessity for you to master them. And then I said, but they often make me sad or shake me or make me feel unhappy when I'm not able to neutralize them. And then I got the word transmute, which I was trying to get. Transmute. Yes, this is the word you were struggling to get, that we were trying to give to you to transmute. This judgment that you attach to not being able to quote unquote transmute is a wholly human construct. To the extent that you do not wish to feel negative emotions, we tell you you do not have to. Recognizing that this is something which you wish to transmute, to use the gymnasium example, the rings you wish to be able to master. If you wish to, you will. A lot of energy there. The first step is to recognizing, oh, this is a skill I wish to learn. I wish to do it better, period. Instead of approaching it with dread, approach it with hope and expectation and ask your angels, your divine guidance, your soul helpers to assist you. Then you will have the assistance. And so perhaps the thing that you should say to your humans that are listening is to ask for assistance with these contracts. So I think we forget that we are not just bare knuckling this all by ourselves, that we really do have a divine good energy that is wishing for our joy, our successes, our learnings, really on our side in all the ways that matter in this human world. Okay, and then I said, what about human events? What chaotic situation will be coming into the world? Why did you tell me reset when I woke up this morning? And this is pretty profound, what they said. Where did it go? In a way, you have asked about the power brokers that we spoke of last week in relation to your Supreme Court. These power brokers will not allow your world or your monetary systems or your fundamental financial structures to falter. They will do whatever is necessary to ensure that they remain hidden kings behind their thrones, pulling the strings of your greater world. And we wish that this were not so. We wish that there was less classist systems in your world and more equality. For it is harder for the rich man to go through the eye of the needle. I'm almost certain that's a proverb in the Bible. Yeah. Indeed, this is a known parable. These humans who have so much power and so many financial resources do not necessarily experience life in the same way as a young mother trying to pay her rent, put gas in her car, and go to 3 jobs to take care of her children. It is an inequality of resources. We show you the difference in cars. Indeed, you have used this metaphor yourself in your own thoughts. Some humans have a very nice, well taken care of, well-serviced vehicle to drive down the road of life, while others are driving on bald tires and a bent frame, and it is a struggle just for them to keep their car on the road. And in your world, you would assign a greater life value to the person in the greater car. But we tell you, in this spiritual world, this is not true. For the person driving the jalopy, you might say, has chosen to have other lessons and other learnings. And indeed, the person driving down the road with ease is not learning much at all, except feeling a sense of ego and entitlement and superiority to those that are on the side of the road changing a tire. And this is not for their greater good. Further, we ask you, do they stop and offer assistance? It's pretty profound. And then listen to this part. What else would you like to tell us, God Source, Holy of Holies? What would you like for me to know? And we would like to address the world reset, and we would like to address the word reset. And this is really a choice. While you are confronted with dichotomies in your human world and the systems are being revealed of two classes, the elite and those which they would like to call peasants. And yes, we now remind you of the situation with your health care. And we say to you that this is bondage, the fact that all humans are not entitled to healthy bodies without having to be in service as a slave, you might say, to an employer, is an injustice. Yeah. Indeed, the puppet masters who have put this system in place of bondage to control those whom they see as peasants. And we tell you that in the next years, this will be revealed and understood. And when we say revealed, we know that it can be seen right now. This is not a mystery or a secret, but for those to really understand the controlling device and now how it has put manacles on their hands and their feet and tied them to those that control the monetary system. And this is something we would like for you to say in this moment. Amen, amen, so be it. Yeah. There you go. So, cards and channeling from my guides for the coming part of May. Hope this encourages you, and I hope that you take away something of benefit that helps you. And if you'd like to subscribe and follow me, I'll be back next week. Thanks so much. See you then.